In the high-stakes arena of international trade, Mexico and Canada have chosen starkly different strategies to confront the escalating tensions with the United States under President Trump. While Mexico opts for quiet diplomacy, Canada has taken a bold, no-nonsense approach, signaling a dramatic shift in its stance. The question on everyone's mind: which strategy will prevail in this heated trade war? Under the leadership of Prime Minister Mark Carney, Canada has drawn a line in the sand. When Trump imposed a 25% tariff on steel and aluminum imports, Canada didn't back down. Instead, it struck back swiftly. Ontario, Canada's economic powerhouse, retaliated by slapping a 25% surcharge on electricity exports to the EU, targeting key states like New York, Michigan, and Minnesota. This move sent shockwaves through the American economy, forcing Trump to rethink his tactics. Carney, who promised a new era of resilience for Canada, made it clear that the country would no longer tolerate being pushed around. "We will never bow down to a bully," he declared, his words echoing across the international stage. "Canadians will always stand together, and we won't let tariffs hurt our workers and their families." Ontario Premier Doug Ford echoed this sentiment, standing shoulder to shoulder with Carney in defiance of Trump's policies. This marked a turning point for Canada, transforming it from a silent ally into a formidable adversary capable of striking back with precision. The 25% tariff on electricity exports was a calculated blow. New York, heavily reliant on Canadian power, faced the prospect of skyrocketing energy costs, potentially costing the EU economy billions. Data from the EU Department of Commerce revealed that the steel and aluminum tariffs had already slashed Canada's exports to the EU by $4.6 billion in 2018. But this time, Canada wasn't playing defense, it was on the offensive. Meanwhile, Mexico's strategy stood in stark contrast. President López Obrador chose a path of quiet diplomacy, avoiding direct confrontation. Instead of public retaliation, Mexico engaged in behind-the-scenes negotiations, seeking to minimize conflict and maintain stable trade relations. While this approach has kept tensions lower, it has also raised questions about whether silence is truly the best response to Trump's aggressive tactics. Canada's boldness has paid off in unexpected ways. When Ontario increased electricity tariffs, trade representatives were forced to the negotiating table, a clear sign that Canada's tough stance was making an impact. This shift in dynamics highlighted a key difference in how Trump treats Canada compared to Mexico. While Mexico's silence may have preserved some stability, Canada's willingness to fight back has earned it a newfound respect. But the battle is far from over. The trade war continues to escalate, with both sides digging in their heels. Canada's strategy of public confrontation and strategic retaliation has sent a powerful message. If you want respect, you have to fight for it. And fight they will. As the conflict unfolds, one thing is certain: Canada and Mexico are proving that smart, bold strategies can counter even the most aggressive policies. As the world watches, the stakes grow higher. Trump, already grappling with a faltering economy, faces mounting pressure. The stock market is in free fall, GDP is plummeting, and top CEOs are losing confidence. Yet, instead of addressing these crises, Trump spent his time on social media, ranting about unrelated issues. Conservative media, once his staunch allies, are turning against him, calling his trade war the most foolish in history. The coming months will be critical. Will Canada's bold strategy force Trump to back down? Can Mexico's quiet diplomacy maintain its fragile balance? Or will the trade war spiral into a full-blown economic disaster? One thing is clear: the world is watching, and the next move could change everything. Stay tuned. This story is far from over. Amid the chaos, the EU economy teeters on the brink. GDP is projected to drop between -2.8% and -3% in the first quarter, and the stock market is plummeting. Top CEOs are losing confidence, with a recent survey showing that CEO confidence in America is at its lowest since 2012. Yet, instead of rolling out a plan to stabilize the economy, Trump is fixated on social media, posting about Elon Musk and picking fights online. A recent poll from Michigan, a critical battleground state, shows that 70% of voters disapprove of his leadership. Even conservative media once his strongest supporters, are turning against him. The Wall Street Journal, a longtime ally, has called this trade war the most foolish in history. Meanwhile, major business leaders are begging for action before a full-blown recession takes hold. While Trump focuses on distractions like banning paper straws, everyday Americans struggle with rising costs and economic instability. Social Security is at risk, with Trump considering cuts to call centers, making it harder for seniors to access their benefits. Critics argue that these moves benefit big corporations at the expense of millions of vulnerable Americans. The EU has just imposed a 50% tariff on Canadian goods with a shocking condition. Canada must become the 51st state. This unprecedented move has sparked outrage across economic, political, and business circles. Canada, under Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, has rejected the demand outright, declaring, "Canada is not for sale." Ontario Premier Doug Ford added, "American businesses fear this policy, but they're too scared to speak out. Canada is preparing retaliatory tariffs on you. Agriculture, steel, and tech products, which could send food prices soaring by 8 to 12%, directly impacting millions of American families. The economic consequences could be devastating for both nations, with experts warning that this trade war could trigger a recession in the EU and destabilize key industries. As tensions between the EU and Canada reach an all-time high, the world braces for what comes next. Will the EU back down, or is this just the beginning of a new economic war? One thing is certain, the stakes have never been higher. Stay tuned. This story is far from over, and the next developments could change everything.